And Omar Khan obviously jumped on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, talks about and is asked about the trade rumors and everything going on and what's going to happen with them and if there's any real action going on. And he says, well, quite frankly, no, that he's heard everything going on. He probably saw BMAC's tweet saying that the Steelers are closing in on a quote-unquote significant playmaker. And he says right now there's nothing in the works. There's nothing happening when it comes to the Steelers' end of that. You heard that yesterday. Did you believe it? Did Omar Khan convince you that nothing is happening with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wide receiver trade market?
Not at all. That guy is lying, man. He is lying. He is, I don't know, like, and I get it. Like, he's got to, like, this, I don't know. You got to keep this stuff under wraps. You don't want to, tip your hand too much, but that man is lying. They are absolutely looking for, they have absolutely been involved in these trade talks. I feel like I don't think they could afford to not be involved and not, kind of kick the tires at the very least to see if they can grab, an upgrade at wide receiver. Maybe they weren't talking about, all the guys that we had kind of listed. I mean, like, I saw Devontae Adams thrown out there and stuff like that. Like, maybe not every name that you see is involved in these trade talks, but there is not a chance that they are not. And it would be irresponsible of them to not, do this, to not explore these trade opportunities and look for an upgrade at wide receiver, because I think some people feel, differently about it, but I don't think you can walk into 2024 with the wide receiver room looking the way that it does right now. I just don't think that's a good thing for a team that wants to be competitive to do. I like some of the pieces that they have there, but I don't think it is enough. So I think the idea that they would not explore any of these opportunities is, I don't know, that's pretty ridiculous to me. I don't think they, and again, like, I get it. Omar's doing his thing. Omar's got to, doesn't want to leave a trail, doesn't want to, tip his hand, like I said, but there's no way that they are not doing this, that they are not at least exploring these chances.
So I looked at it and my immediate thought was there probably isn't any action happening right now. There might have been action happening an hour and a half ago, but when he was actually on the show, everything was calmed down and there was really nothing going on. And that's what I thought of. Like, my thought was, all right, Omar doesn't want to lie to these guys because they'll call him out the next time he's on there if he does lie to them. And he doesn't want to tip his hand. So what's he going to do? He's going to say exactly what's happening in that moment. And what's happening probably exactly in that moment is there's nothing to talk about. I would imagine that they were somewhat closing in on a significant playmaker. I think BMAC might have jumped the gun with that. I think that he might have interpreted whatever text or conversation he had to say, the Steelers are very close to a wide receiver trade. That happens. But I don't think that in that moment Omar was necessarily lying. But if you asked him an hour, 2 hours earlier, he probably would be lying. I think that they probably had those conversations. They turned out not to be anything that was going to turn into fruition right there. And he said, okay, sounds good. For right now, for the rest of today, there's nothing going on. And when he was asked about it, he said, oh, yeah, there's nothing happening, because at the time there was.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not actively on the phone right now talking about trades for wide receivers. That's
exactly. But I would imagine that they are in talks. I find it very hard to believe. And even what I've been told, like over the last day or two, I've reached out to everyone I possibly could to get some intel from inside the building and any source, any representation that I could get my hands on and I could get some words from and some insight from. And the Steelers were, I mean, unless I'm being lied to, and don't get me wrong, like, again, these things happen, but and I haven't tossed anything out there with confirmation. I'm not out there. I'm trying to work with a side of caution, because BMAC tossed that out there and immediately everybody freaked out, and you're going, okay, here we go. So I'm trying to stay on the side of caution here, but I've been told by numerous people that the Pittsburgh Steelers were in talks with the 49ers as late as 2 days ago, when all that chaos was going on, that those conversations were being had. I don't know how close anything was, but there were conversations that were being had and that the Steelers were reaching out. And again, probably by the time that all that happened, it quieted down and Omar was like, yeah, there's nothing going on. Guys, this is a public service announcement and it is urgent. You think that you have mastered the look in sweatpants and joggers? Well, guess what, my friend? You have not. You are one step away from wearing pajamas in public, and your significant other is starting to think that you look like a slob. It's time to take your sexy ass and put it in some jeans. If you take anything away from today's show, it's that the perfect jean isn't just another pair of stiff, uncomfortable, nut-crushing pants. They have cracked the code on solving your denim difficulties, and it is time to rejoice. Check them out. Always looking good. The Perfect Jean makes great looking, perfect fitting jeans that are as comfortable as sweatpants and more stretchy than a kangaroo's pouch. It's made from a special denim fabric that's super soft, just like sweatpants, just like joggers, but it doesn't make you look like a slob. And the best part, they make 6 fits from skinny to thick. Waist sizes from 26 to 50 and lengths from 26 to 38. So whether you are a thick guy or a short king, or guess what, anything in between, they perfectly fit your body and accentuate your assets. Pun intended. Trust us when we say that these are truly fucking perfect jeans. Once you try them on, you'll never go back. Once again, boom. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc, or just Google The Perfect Jean and use our code ALLSteelers15 for 15% off. Look it, I have been looking for a while. I have been talking to my fiance daily. I need to find a look. I've tried them all. I tried khakis, I tried joggers, I tried sweatpants, I tried shorts. Nothing fits me like the Perfect Jeans fit me. The Perfect Jean doesn't just stop there, though. They've revolutionized t-shirts as well. The Perfect Tee has just enough stretch to hide the beer belly while accentuating your arms and chest for that flawless look. It's soft like butter without shrinking in the wash like all your other t-shirts. It's just, perfect. The Perfect Jean always has free shipping, always has free exchanges, and always has free returns. So you can have peace of mind knowing that your order is completely risk-free. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use our code ALLSteelers15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code ALLSteelers15. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please give us some support and tell them that we sent you. Fuck your khakis and get the Perfect Jean. Let me ask you this. How many more times do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers reach out to the San Francisco 49ers or the Denver Broncos or wherever before they somewhat give up on this situation and just accept a trade isn't going to happen?
Well, let's see. We've got, 4.5 months, 5 months maybe till the start of the season. I think,
yes.
That's about as long as it'll take. They will. I think this is going to drag out well into the summer, to be quite honest. I think these are, other than, if they are able to get Cortland Sutton or Zay Jones or a DJ Chark or something before then, that'll obviously end the speculation. But if the Steelers, as long as the Steelers don't have another starting outside receiver, they are going to ask about those two guys, until they do. So I think this could drag out into the summer, into training camp. I think there could be a holdout or hold in on the 49ers side. And I think that could make things get a little bit, not ugly, but, it'll make things more difficult for the 49ers, and it'll up the sense of urgency. I think, I'm not necessarily expecting anything to get done during the summer, but once August hits, that's when I think my antenna is really going to go up. And, as far as, 49ers rumors go.
Yes, I agree. I think that this is very easy. We are in a very simple spot for the 49ers to say, no, we are not trading either of these guys. We want to make it work, because right now you could make it work. Come the end of July, early August, Brandon Ayuk isn't at training camp, and the 49ers are starting to think, man, is he really not going to play this season? Are we really we're going to test that out and see if that's a real thing that happens here? That's when it becomes real, because at that moment, the 49ers are backed against the wall and they have a decision to make. Are we going to let Brandon Ayuk walk a year from now and not get anything in exchange for him? Or are we going to make a trade right now and say, okay, either him or Deebo Samuel is gone because we have to pay the other, or vice versa? That's how I view the situation. For right now, I don't expect anything to happen. I've been saying that. I just find it way too hard for the 49ers to lower their asking price and for the Steelers to try and convince them that anything should happen for a lesser value than they think it's going to happen, because the 49ers have nothing to worry about in May. There's just nothing to worry. Like, who cares if Brandon Ayuk doesn't show up to organize team activities or minicamp? Nobody cares. When it comes training camp and you're just thinking, man, they might actually hold out, this is a real thing, that's when you're going to start thinking, okay, look, it's time to start deciding whether or not we're going to just risk this, or if we're going to get a deal done with another team and at least get some value for either him or Deebo. And I think that's when at least that side of things can happen. Courtland Sutton's a different story. I feel like I don't know what to expect from a guy like Courtland Sutton. I don't understand why he's not showing up for training camp. Like, you have 2 years left on your deal. Isn't next year the year that you're supposed to be holding out, not this one? I don't know how that works out. I don't know. Interesting times.